Good day, sir.
Good day.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Have yourself a good one.
You too. We're in business. And here we go. Our acoustic wall slats have been delivered. We have our heavy duty spray adhesive, our PL premium construction adhesive, some rubber gasketing material, as well as our weather stripping that we need for our windows. And to top it all off, a day late in a few hours is our fabric. Yeah, it's about time it got here. And this is to finish our rings that should have been done in the last video. And of course, we've done a lot of this fabric install in other videos. I'll tag one of them right here. So we're not gonna spend a lot of time on it. But before we start with the pretty work, we gotta take care of some of the mundane things that happen in the background. And we're gonna try and make this quick. So first things first, is we need to mark out around where this ring lines up with the window, just using some painter's tape. Just gonna find that line and run it across until it looks a little something like this. And of course, we did that on both windows. And we'll explain why we taped those off later in this video, so stick around. But for now, we need to remove our 4 screws and take this all back apart and bring it to the garage so we can wrap our window rings. So, that's the wrong size, Robertson. And I suddenly cannot find the right one. These are number 6 screws, and I need number 6 Robertson, and I can't find it anywhere. So, roll the intro, and I'll figure this out on my own. Welcome back, peeps. How we doing today? In this episode, we're starting off right where our progress stopped in the van in our last video. And we got stopped because we did not have enough of our matching material to do those rings. Now keep in mind, the width comes as 4.5 feet. The length, you can get whatever you want. And our strip only has to be 4.5 inches wide at its widest point. To wrap this piece all the way around that ring and only have 1 seam in it, it has to be 10.5 feet long to wrap that whole ring. Again, you could probably cut these up into smaller 4.5 inch wide sections like this and 4.5 feet wide like that, and wrap it around the ring. But then you'd have multiple seams, which is exactly what we don't want. I'm having hard enough time figuring out what I'm doing with 1 seam. I don't need 4 of them. So you end up with having to buy a full 5 square yard roll just to get the length out of it, which is gonna end up leaving a really weird cut on our fabric. But it's what we had to do to get the look. So from this view right here, you should be able to try this again. Ha ha, it worked. Oh my goodness. And it looks flipping flawless. If you look at where I have these seams, 1 seam on each ring, and honestly, if I didn't know where they were, you probably would never find them. I am so impressed. So now that our rings are complete and ready to be back installed, when they go into the van, we know this piece of wood can bolt to the framing that is around the window, which bolts that in place perfectly. But the ring itself also needs to be able to mount to this once it's all in place. And we're going to mount some strips onto here so that once it's all installed, we can bolt it. So everything is screwed together and solid when it's all complete. So we know that this is 3/8 thick plywood. So we're gonna go around our ring, measure 3/8 down all the way around, cut some furring strips out of some scrap MDF, and then we'll take said furring strips and just mount them right where we marked our lines all the way around, which gives a spot for our 3/8 plywood to mount to. So we'll just nail and glue these in place, and once they're all nailed and glued in place, I can set this board on top of it, on top of those furring strips, and it now sits up against there nice and flush. Now we are not going to mount this to the ring yet, because we got to put it into that window and everything. But after we know this all works, the next step, we get to the reason as to, at the beginning of the video, we taped off that window like this earlier before we pulled this all back out. Now the reason for taping this off is, as you'll notice, to make this all line up flush here, there is a gap here, and it's just because of how the curves are. There's no way you can get this to go right to the window, and in all honesty, you wouldn't want to. You don't want this MDF and stuff touching the actual window itself. So for this, because we don't want to leave it open either, because as you're sitting here, if you set something there, you don't want it falling in behind your window frame somewhere, or just bugs and all kinds of stuff in general. What we're gonna do is on the back side of our rings, which is the side that goes towards the window, we're gonna take rubber gasketing material and we're gonna cut it into strips. Hold up a sec. So I started cutting those into strips, and I decided I need to take a nap because I was up till like 3 o'clock in the morning wrapping those rings last night. And what I've noticed, first off, I forgot my tape measure, and I need to turn some lights on in this place. Because once again, the sun's going down for our second night. Oh, it's gonna be another late one, I think. Okay, so now that it's all in, and we can see where it sits when it bumps up against those bump stops that we put in, we got it set into the right spot. And if we look at the widest gap, the good thing about the blue tape is that you can see the gap with the blue tape. It's just over 1/2 inch. That's the same on both sides, the widest gap, and it's just over 1/2 inch, which means my original plan, that I'm not gonna go too much into, is the blue tape's kind of irrelevant now, because I was gonna stick some to the window itself and then to here to close that gap. But at just over 1/2 inch, oh, I need my tape measure. The weather stripping we purchased, it's like the exact thickness that the widest spot is. All the other stuff is thinner than that, which will just squeeze our weather stripping, which is exactly what we want. So we've changed the plan. Do not need this 1/2 inch rubber gasketing material anymore. On the back side here, now all we have to do is adhere this piece here. And this is one long strand as well, where that we would have had a seam on the side here and a seam on the side here. Now with this one long strand, we can do both pieces and only have one seam at the top of our ring, just like what we have whatever this is called. What the heck? I'm not thinking very good here today. That's why I tried to take a nap. And while I was napping, all I was doing is thinking, and now I can't speak. So, where our fabric is, with our one seam, our seal is now going to be the exact same way. So this here does come with a sticky side to it that you can stick down. But honestly, I don't trust that. So what we have is some contact cement in a can this time. And it's the exact same stuff as our spray adhesive, just in a can that we can brush on. So that way, if we tried to spray this, we'd end up getting glue all over that. And then it'd just look trashy when it was all in there and done. You'd have glue residue all over it. And we're just gonna spread it all the way around and then stick this down to this back side of this ring. And once again, midway through, our stupid battery goes dead. But we got the glue on, and you'll notice it's getting chilly at nighttime because now we got to deal with the furnace running in the background now too. So we're just going to start peeling back the sticky adhesive part, peeling back the cover from the adhesive, and plop her down on. This stuff should curve around our bend. Yep, perfectly. And there she is, the back side. Fully sealed. That's stuck down really solid. And just clean, professional. That's what I like. There's our seam. We cut it on an angle, fit it inside. Once that's all in, that's the top of the ring. And of course it'll be the back, right? And here we go. It's the final fitting. This is the last time we put this thing in ever. As you'll notice, I did go and put some thin insulation just at the empty areas where there was bare metal. Just to help a little bit more, let's clean this window. There we go. Now we'll install the ring, in which we have glued our front faces together already. So we do have to act fast, and obviously it fits a lot tighter with that seal. Oh, careful. Fits a lot tighter with that seal on there now as well. Just stay until I get the board. Then we install our front face piece, which has also been glued already. Get it all in place. There we go. Well, let's put a couple quick screws in there. Alright, now I'm going to pull this out so that it lines up, and it's going to match up to those furring strips we put in behind. And then we'll take our air gun, and just like that, everybody is one fully connected, happy family. It is together. I'm going to drop a few more screws in here before our glue dries. You can, oh my goodness, Jeff, good job. Good job, bro. What? Check this out. And there it is. Fully framed window. Oh, and it's absolutely solid. We nailed it. Literally, nailed it and screwed it ourselves. I feel like you guys gotta see this in the daylight. It sucks that it's already late again. And check it out. It's so smooth. You can't even tell we have the magnets in there. Almost forgot to even talk about that part of the deal. Whoa. Take that. Bonk. It's friggin' wicked. So now when we get our window coverings, they'll be magnetic and stick in there to keep all the heat in or the cold out, or vice versa. It's freaking sweet. So now we have to frame this outer edge of this window ledge, because of course this front face where we see our seams and stuff is not going to be exposed. It's going to be completely framed with either something like this or this, which I'm still in the middle of figuring out. And let me tell you, as we've spoken many times in the last few videos, is that there's nothing straight about that. So making a square frame around a window that's, I don't know, off-shaped rectangle. And unfortunately, time is just not on our side right now. The amount of forethought that went into this just to get the concept of what we were building and how it was all going to fit in, is the amount of afterthought that really ends up being the time consumer. The amount of time spent sitting here staring at those fine details and the customizing, the stuff you couldn't really figure out until you had the concept in place, just burns your time like crazy. Hours gone just thinking. And now we find ourselves with the problem of, first off, it's quite chilly out here. 9 degrees Celsius. And any of the glues we have to use, like this, or the wood glue, or even as we get to the paneling and whatnot, the PL glue, it has to be at least 15 degrees for it to set properly, which means I can't glue anything at 9 degrees outside unless we go and fire that heater up inside the van, which might be happening soon. And last but not least, it's now 11:24 at night, and I don't know about cutting wood and stuff like that at that time of night, because, well, we do have neighbors. And even if I did get all this done and cut, I would still have to edit a video, which we have to do anyways. If I stop right now and start making our video, it's probably gonna be about 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning when we're finished. If I try to do this and that and that, I don't even think it's possible. So it's now almost 3 o'clock in the morning, 2:55 in the morning. We have almost 15 minutes of a video fully edited. And in our loading time, we did get to work on our Dares Drives shopping channel. You should go check that out. It's working in the link down below. But this guy at this time is now tapping out. So you might find out that this video is going to be a little late on Sunday, as per what we're usually used to. The bonus to that is that you now get to see the van in the daylight.
Hi.
Hi. bunk. And I know the progress on this van doesn't feel like much on the video, but I'm telling you, this project, with how far we've gotten on this, feels like massive project to this guy right here. And I'm sorry we didn't get as far as I promised at the beginning of the video, but that's the way the story goes in this one here. So, take a look around.
Perfect.
So if you haven't subscribed yet, maybe consider doing so. No pressure, of course. You do you. If you have subscribed, thank you, thank you, thank you. And we will see you on the next video.
Perfect.